up, guys? So coming to you this morning, another mid-year top 10. We're gonna hit you with the 135-pound lightweight division. To me, this is probably the number 4 division in boxing right now. You got some good stars in this division, got a lot of talent, up and comers, and yeah, the division just keeps getting better. So let's break down the top 10. We're gonna start with we got one guy out from the previous top 10. And that is former WBA lightweight champion Anthony Corolla. He previously was number 10. April 12th, he got a shot against for the unified title. He was a mandatory number 1 contender. He got a shot against Vasily Lomachenko, my pound-for-pound best in boxing and the number 1 fighter at lightweight. And Corolla got his ass whipped. I mean, I honestly didn't think Lomachenko was going to be able to stop Corolla this quick. Excuse me. I thought he was going to break him down a little better. I mean, more. You know, he was going to have to be able to stop him later on. I even thought Corolla might make it to the final bell because he's always been a guy that packed a good chin. But, man, fucking Lomachenko's timing, and he just, you know, came right at Corolla and was just beating him up. And beautiful right hand that knocked Corolla out. Nothing to hang his head about. I mean, Corolla lost to literally the best fighter in boxing. I never thought Corolla was, you know, he's a top 10 guy, but I never thought he was, you know, very special to begin with. So, you know, so he drops out. The other guy's more deserving. You know, that was a devastating knockout loss. Not sure if he'll be back for the end of the year, but tough loss for him. And, you know, we'll see what he does next. He's a veteran. He went in there against the best. He lost. I don't know if moving up to 140 is an option for him or just trying to chip away at 135 again. So we'll see. All right, now we jump into the top 10. We have a 2-way tie for 10th now. The first of those guys we're going to look at is French contender Yvonne Mende. Mende currently is ranked number 6 by the WBC. He drops 1 spot from number 9 coming into the month of April. And, you know, he's already fought 2 times this year. This guy is a guy that kind of chips away. He stays busy because nobody really wants to fight him because he's not a big name and he's tough to knock out. And he's actually a decent boxer with decent power. But he's got 2 knockout wins this year in January and in March. He's returning July 8th against another nobody, Diego Eligio. And he's probably going to get another knockout win there. And I think the best bet for him is try to get himself into an eliminator before the end of the year. Try to get right back into title contention. You know, he lost last year to Luke Campbell by a unanimous decision in a rematch from a fight that he won back in 2015. And I think he just needs to chip away and try to get back into title contention. So we'll see if by the end of the year he can be in an eliminator or something. Tied with him for 10th now, breaking into the top 10 for his first time, is the undefeated contender Teofimo Lopez. Guys, if you have not seen Lopez, you will not be disappointed. This guy is fucking badass. I really like Lopez. You know, his attitude can be a little much sometimes, but the guy really can box. He can punch and punch with power. I mean, the guy's got a lot of tools. Very excited to see him. He's 2-0 already this year. January, he destroyed Diego Magdaleno at 7th round knockout. Then he came back on a Terrence Crawford pay-per-view undercard and scored a knockout victory over former world title challenger Edis Tatley. It was a 5th round TKO or 5th round knockout. And now he's set to return July 19th against Masayoshi Nakatani. Not a big name Japanese fighter, but he's main eventing a Friday night card now on ESPN. I think he's going to score a knockout in this one. And then before the end of the year, he will be getting his first world title shot against Richard Comey. Comey looks really good. He's a top 5 lightweight now. So Lopez is on the fast track to a possible Lomachenko fight next year for the undisputed title. That would be huge. And I definitely believe that's going to happen. So make sure you watch this guy July 19th on ESPN. That's a Friday night. And he will be fighting to become the number 1 contender for a world title. Okay, next at number 9, dropping 1 spot from number 8, is former 130-pound champion Javier Fortuna. He's currently ranked 5th in the WBC right now. Haven't heard anything on what he's going to do next. He last fought in February. Got a decision win over Sharif Bojere when he came back to the lightweight division. It was a nice win. Bojere is a former world title challenger. We got to see what he does next. I'm hoping he gets an opportunity against somebody, and somebody who's willing to give him a shot, because Fortuna is a pretty solid fighter, but we just got to wait and see what the PBC provides for him. He needs to try to get an eliminator, though, or something. Next at number 8, dropping one spot from number 7, is former 2-division world champion Jose Pedraza. He came back in May, got a 9th round TKO victory against Inez Torres, an unknown fighter. He looked good in his comeback fight from when he lost to Lomachenko back in December and lost his world title. He's a pretty solid fighter, but he's talking about moving up to 140 now if he can't get the fights that he wants at 135. I'm not sure anybody's really going to take a big gamble. There's not a ton of top-ranked guys here, at least that are willing to fight him. Lomachenko already beat him. Teofimo Lopez is on a different track to face other people. So I don't know if Pedraza's in the mix there, but he's talking about moving up to 140. He's a talented fighter. Not sure if he can handle the power at 140, but that's why you roll the dice and see what happens. So hopefully we hear something about what he's going to do next soon. Next at number 7, former 2-division world champion Rances Barthelemy. He's back in the top 10 here for the first time in a while. He was in the top 10 at 140, and then he decided to move back down at the end of April and challenge for the vacant WBA regular title against Rances Barthelemy. Against Robert Easter Jr. That was a horrible fucking fight. He really didn't give that much of an effort at all. He didn't throw a lot of punches, and it was just a very boring, dull fight. I was very disappointed that it was a main event of a Showtime card, and he didn't really give much. I don't know if a rematch is going to happen. He's currently rated number 1 in the WBA right now. I don't know if they're going to have a rematch between him and Easter, but, he needs to put his foot on the gas pedal more if that's what he wants. If not, I think there's a possibility he can move back up to 140, so we'll see. Next at number 6 is former IBF champion Robert Easter Jr. He returned from the loss to Mikey Garcia last year at the end of April and fought Rances Barthelemy in that fight we just discussed. Terrible fight on both accounts. He threw more punches, but wasn't willing to engage, and it was just a terrible fight, and I'm glad they scored it a draw. Neither one of those guys deserved to walk out with a piece of the world title, and hopefully he'll get another crack at it. We'll see what happens. He's currently number 2 in the WBA right now, so again, I'm not sure if a rematch is going to happen, but if it does, he definitely needs to look better in the next fight out, and I really hope they don't decide to make the mistake of make this a main event of a Showtime or even a Fox card again. It definitely deserves to be on an undercard. Next at number 5, dropping one spot from number 4, is the former world title challenger Luke Campbell. Now, Campbell was waiting around for his title shot. Mikey Garcia vacated his world title finally, and Campbell was waiting around. It looked like he was going to face Devin Haney on DAZN, and Top Rank and Vasily Lomachenko swung in and made a request to the WBC that they be allowed to fight for the vacant title against Luke Campbell, and that was granted. So Campbell not only has an opportunity at the world title, a vacant WBC title, he's got an opportunity to be a unified champion because Lomachenko holds 2 belts, and then he also gets a chance at the pound-for-pound king, so that's going to take place August 31st on ESPN. That hasn't been 150% announced yet, but it's happening, and I can't wait to see it. I think Campbell's talented. He's good. He punches with power. He can box. I don't think he's on Lomachenko's level, so I think he's going to end up getting stopped in the middle to later rounds. But I could see him giving some problems to Lomachenko for a while, and I'm interested in seeing that because Campbell doesn't give a shit. He's going to come with it. He's a good fighter. So we'll see what happens. That's August 31st on ESPN. Next at number 4, moving up 2 spots from number 6, is the IBF champion Richard Comey. He returned to make the first defense of his title against Ray Beltran, a former world champion. Beltran was coming back down from 140 after moving up there in his last fight. And then he did not make weight going into the fight. So he came in the bigger man, even though Comey actually weighed more the night of the fight. But, yeah, that happened just this past Saturday night on the 28th, Friday night on the 28th. But, man, Comey was fucking on it. 4 knockdowns later, and on the 4th one, a beautiful left hook that just landed clean on the nose and, you know, face area, and just it really rocked him. It really was one of those equilibrium shots that really hurt somebody, you know, and the referee did not let Beltran continue. I think it was the right call. He was going to end up getting stopped right after that anyways. But great performance by Comey to knock out a guy who I've never seen get knocked out in Ray Beltran is impressive. I know Beltran's 38, but still, impressive performance. Comey holds on to his world title, and now he's got a date with Teofimo Lopez as long as Lopez beats that Japanese contender on July 19th, which he shouldn't have a problem doing that. I can't wait to see it. He's going to have a big opportunity against a young, hungry, really good boxer and puncher in Lopez. And this is absolutely, he's going to be the best fighter Lopez has ever faced. So, going to be fun. That should happen probably, I'd say, October, November area, at the very latest December. And we'll see what goes down. So, Richard Comey. Next, and still number 3, is former 3-division world champion Jorge Lanata. He was supposed to come back on June 21st on a DAZN undercard, and injury and training held him out. So no news on what he's doing next and when he's officially moving back down to 135. Actually, that fight was supposed to be again at 140, but his goal is to move to 135. He's not going to put himself in risk again against a guy like Pablo Cesar Cano, who knocked him out back in January. So hopefully we hear an announcement on when he's going to be coming back soon. Next, and still number 2, is the former 4-division world champion Mikey Garcia. Mikey has made it official that he's going to be coming back at a heavier weight. We just don't know where. There was a lot of talks about him and Danny Garcia, which I would love to see that fight at welterweight. Mikey's actually highest ranking. He's number 3 by the WBA at 147 right now. I truly believe he's going to fight Danny Garcia next, but we don't know when exactly. But they said probably the fall, because the original working date was August 31st. Now it looks like sometime in the fall. I think that's going to happen. But until they officially make the announcement of that, I'm not moving Mikey out of lightweight. He's been too up and down between the weight classes. He was a world champion at lightweight. He moved up to 147 in his last fight and got his ass whipped, yes, but he didn't belong at 147 to begin with. So we're going to see, but I do believe hopefully in the next month or so we hear the announcement of him and Danny Garcia for sometime this fall, and I'm really looking forward to that. But he did leave the option open of coming back down to 140 and even eventually 135, so we'll see. And finally, still number 1, is the reigning and unified WBA, WBO lightweight champion, Vasily Lomachenko. He's my pound-for-pound king. He came back April 12th against Anthony Corolla. Brutal 4th-round knockout victory, impressive win, and retained his unified titles. Now, you guys might say, so what? Who's Anthony Corolla? And you're right. Corolla is not on Lomachenko's level, but here's the kicker, guys. It was a mandatory fight. In order to hold on to both his belts, he had to take this fight. He did it. And what do you do against the guy who's not on your level? You fucking annihilate him. And that's what Lomachenko did. That's what he did. He destroyed Anthony Corolla and held on to his world titles. And now he put a request in with the WBC to challenge for the vacant WBC title against Luke Campbell, and it was granted. And now 3 of the belts are going to be on the line in that fight on August 31st on ESPN. I think he's going to knock Campbell out in the middle to later rounds. I think he's hungry. I think he wants to be undisputed champion. And he has a showdown coming with Teofimo Lopez that is just going to be exciting and great. And I cannot wait to see it. So that's going to take place sometime next year. But the fight with Campbell is going to be great. Maybe he, after he wins, maybe he gets another opponent after that. But I just cannot wait to see Lomachenko again. The guy is truly, in my opinion, he's the best in boxing. It's a toss-up between him and Terrence Crawford. I agree with that. But I think he's just special, and I think he's the best one. So that's it, guys, for the lightweights. I'll hit you again with another one tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. True Boxing, been hit with the truth.